All right, today is Tuesday, January 22nd. I'm already thinking it's the end of the year, 2019, and I'm getting ready to start on this instrument cluster wiring. So it comes with different connectors. These are for the little light bulbs that go in the back of the instrument cluster. It's a single wire. These look like they're double wire, obviously. It comes with these little golden or copper, brass, whatever. That looks like it mates with the light bulb. Make a connection. Comes with some heat shrink, a couple of these for terminals, and 4 springs, which I'm assuming, since I have 4 of these, that's what the springs are for. It comes with instructions: 61, 2, 3, and 4. They're all different. They're all in color, and that matches up with pretty much the back of the instrument cluster. It comes with step-by-step instructions. I got my wires laid out, and I got my cluster. So I don't think this is going to be very hard at all. Basically, that's the clock. 2 light bulbs next to it. It's got color matched. It says the colors of the wire. I believe that's my fuel sending, if I remember right. And speedometer cable goes there, and the other light bulbs. So looks pretty straightforward to me. It's part 1. We're going to see how it goes. Stay tuned. Alright, today is Wednesday, January 23rd, and I just wanted to update here on the instrument cluster. I finished this up last night. Didn't take long, maybe 2 hours at the most. I did spend some time studying the instructions, so I kind of knew what I was getting into. But it looks a lot more complicated than it actually is. It's actually pretty straightforward. And if you can read the directions and follow a color-coded wiring diagram, then the only problem you're going to run into, or the only issue or challenge you might have, is actually crimping the wires, which is not hard. After a few crimps, you get the hang of it. But it's pretty straightforward. The wires are color-coded to wherever they plug in on the back of the cluster. For example, you can see gray up top, dark blue, tan, gray again, light green, light blue, dark green, yellow's the clock, ground, and you have your fuel gauge. So all the grays are your dash lamps. On the American Autowire kit or diagram, it calls for 6 gray wire dash lamps, but for some reason my cluster only has 5. The diagram shows another one right here, which my cluster don't have that for some reason. I don't know if it's a misprint or whatever, but it's on the diagram they send. So the gray, you splice all those with their splicer into the 1 gray wire to the harness. Your yellow is your clock. That plugs into the dash harness, I believe. And then you have, like I say, all the wires are all labeled. So oil pressure, you got that plus a hot. The green, I believe, I want to say is temperature. Let's see. Yeah. Water temperature. So you have your oil pressure and your water temperature. So I left out the generator light, and I left out the cold temperature light. From my experience, I believe when you convert to a 1-wire alternator, it throws your generator light on. It's kind of like an idiot light, what they call it. And so I don't need that, and I don't need the car to tell me that it's cold. So all I need is to tell me when it's hot and make sure I got good oil pressure. So you got your fuel sending unit, which is your tan. You got your ground. Ground's the whole thing. I believe the blue is right turn signal. Right dash indicator. I believe this is your brake light, brown. The green is your high beam, and then the light blue is your left turn signal. And that's pretty much it. Speedometer cable plugs in there, and this thing's ready to go back in the car. I tested everything last night. I just jumped the wires on a battery hot to the bulb, and everything works fine. Try to clean it up a little bit, just kind of zip tied them. But these are just going to plug directly into the dash harness. So I'm not going to mess with it today because it's about 40 degrees outside. So, but so far the trunk harness, rear body harness, courtesy lights, and instrument cluster. All that's left is the dash. I have to cut the firewall out to fit the fuse panel, and then the engine harness and the front light harness, and that's it. So we're moving right along. Stay tuned for more updates. Thanks.